Say good day to you this day of your time. How are you all? All right. We will once again extend to each and every one of you our deep appreciation in allowing this particular transmission and communication to take place in this way, which affords us the opportunity to expand our own consciousness as well as sharing with you some ideas that can help to expand your own. Let us begin. We understand that we are having this discussion, this get-together, as you say in your language, this day of your time, for the purpose of talking about the subject of money. Now, yours is not the only planet that has it, but it is one of the few we have encountered that does. But that's all right. It is unique, it is valid, and since we understand it is one of the ways your planet works, we will talk about it in direct terms. Now, the idea to understand, first and foremost, is this. Do not mean to disappoint you, but I will not be telling you how to win the lottery. That is first and foremost. I will tell you this. You have the ability to win the lottery, but you must understand that it has to be keyed to the strongest excitement within you and has to be an all-consuming focus or an absolute knowingness for you to allow yourself to fall into the appropriate slot where that can synchronistically represent itself to you as one form of abundance on your planet. It can be done, but that's not what we're here to discuss. We're here to discuss the idea of how you can attract more money into your life by whatever methodology you so desire. Now, yes, as a very brief recap, yes, it is for the most part based on the idea of following your joy, absolutely, because that is fundamentally who you are. Your excitement, your vibration is who you are. By acting on your joy, it is far more likely that you're going to put yourself in the proper place and time to see the opportunities that can allow you to act upon them to bring you more money in your life. Please do remember, and we will get into this in another way, in a new way in a moment, but please do remember that abundance really is only the ability to do what you need to do when you need to do it. It can be money. It doesn't have to be money, but it can be money, and because that is the subject of this discussion, we will focus on that. Now, what we are really saying here, in terms of giving you more of an opportunity to attract more money in your life, is we are helping in this discussion to uncover and to clarify your relationship to money and abundance. Your relationship to money and abundance. Because that is all it takes. That's all that's required to allow money to come pouring in rivers, in waterfalls into your life. Because the universe is abundant. Your planet has all the money it needs for every single one of the individuals that we are talking to now in this gathering, and many, 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 many more to become what you call millionaires. More than enough for that. Remember, one of the reasons that is so is that not everyone needs or wants to really be a millionaire. So the idea is that for everyone that is truly excited and attracted to that experience, there is enough for you to become a multi-millionaire. There is. After all, you create the idea of money. You can create what you need. Not saying that you should run out and print it. We understand your laws frown on that. But you can create what you need. You can attract what you need in your life regarding as much money as you have ever dreamed of. One of the things that we have said that does go hand in hand with this, of course, is the degree of your activity, the degree to which you put out that you exist on a level that is commensurate with receiving a lot of money in return. For individuals who are simply limiting themselves in certain ways are actually giving off a message that they don't really want or need that much money. But by expanding your expression of self, you give off more of a signal to reality, to the mirror of the universe, that money can be reflected in the degree of expansion you are willing to provide, you are willing to exhibit. Now, let us talk about three primary ideas. This will be new approaches for you regarding the concept of money. And remember, what we are doing is we are attempting to shake up, dislodge, deconstruct then clarify and reconstruct and relodge your relationship to money. Because you don't have to do anything but relate to money differently than you do in order for money to come flooding into your life. But the fact that many of you don't have a clear relationship to money is the thing that prevents that money from coming in. So, let us begin with the first of the three ideas. Now, to some degree, I've talked about this concept before, and the concept that we will now present to you in a new way is the concept of definitions, and specifically definitions that contradict one another. Remember, your beliefs, your definitions, are what create your reality. Now, one of the things we have said is the idea that you are raised with a number of conflicting ideas about money. One of the ones we have given you already is that when you are growing up, most people, especially in your culture, will say, in order to be successful, in order to be looked at as successful, in order to be considered successful, you must make a lot of money. And again, in the next breath, in the other ear, they say, but money is the root of all evil. That means if you become successful, you are going to be evil. You really do take these concepts to heart. You really do. And when you do, you create this conflict within yourself, this battle, this war within yourselves that doesn't allow you to move ahead. And it sours your relationship to money. And it builds tension and stress within your body because you are literally tearing yourself apart. I want to be successful. I want a lot of money. I will be the devil himself if I become rich. What am I to do? What am I to do? As we have discussed, the idea is to get in touch, of course, with those definitions and clarify them so that you understand that these are not things you must believe in. That you don't have to connect the idea of being a bad person, of being evil, so to speak, with the idea of having money. You don't have to believe that absolute power corrupts absolutely, because it only does when you absolutely believe that it does. That's the point. You need to find your definitions and weed them out, lay them out clearly, separate them out clearly, disentangle them from one another clearly, so that you can understand what you are dealing with, what you have to work with. What are the tools you have at hand? What are the definitions that give you your relationship to money? An example that was recently provided is the idea that because you have entangled your belief systems up, you can be thinking that you want one thing, and you don't seem to be able to get that one thing, and you can't figure out why you can't get that one thing, until all of a sudden you realize that if you got that one thing, it would mean that you would have to do this other thing that to you is something you don't want to do. And so because it is something you are absolutely 100% against doing in your mind, you will make sure that you prevent yourself from getting that first thing that would give you or force you to do the other thing. When you connect things together that way, then you will never be able to allow yourself to see clearly what your relationships are, because it will all be caught up and wound up in a bunch of different cross-conflicting belief systems. Let's now look at one we have not discussed before that on the surface may not seem to be very profound, but again, remember, all these things sink into you, and when they do, even though the original idea may on the surface not seem to have a lot of power, when you apply the same principles unconsciously to other areas of your life, they can absolutely stop you cold, stop you dead, as you say. Let's look at your idea of your monetary system. Now, when your money, your idea of money, your value for money, the value you have placed on your money, when the value of your money becomes less, you say your money is inflated. What kind of sense does that make? You say that something that gets bigger gets smaller. That something that gets smaller gets bigger. And when it all of a sudden has more value, you say it has deflated. Is it any wonder you are confused? No, not at all. Again, this may seem arbitrary, but stop and think about it. These are the kinds of signals that you have been giving yourselves and have been given to you for years concerning money. There is a very important thing to understand behind this, and that is you need to look at money in exactly the opposite way you have been trained to look at money. In especially this case, the idea, first of all, of whatever this core value is that you have arbitrarily assigned to the idea of money, that you all agree is the worth of the money. But then once you have done that, you go throwing your own system out of whack, out of kilter, by labeling this value as fluctuating in such a manner that the label is exactly the opposite of what it is doing. Allow yourself to begin right now to reverse that idea. Let's use this example, and I will take you through the exercise now briefly, but understand why we are doing this. Everything we are now going to discuss in all the examples we will now give you may on the surface just sound like words, and you may walk out of this seminar, as you call it, afterwards saying, well, all right, I heard a lot of words, and maybe they made sense, and maybe they did not. But what is actually going on here is this. The things that we are sharing with all of you now on this subject are specifically designed to get under your skin, into your sub and unconscious selves, and dislodge, to start to break up these locked-in, deep-seated definitions and belief systems about money that you've been carrying with you through your whole life. So when you walk away, you may think, well, that was nice, those were words. You will actually walk away beginning the process of breaking down all of these ideas. It is like we are now giving you, tossing into your brain, a little time-released acid capsule, meaning the acid that dissolves, not the drug. The idea being that that capsule will begin to break down, and as it does, it will begin to seek out and dissolve all of those conflicting, contrary ideas and beliefs, and will start to unravel the tapestry, so you will begin to examine them one at a time. All of a sudden you'll find yourself beginning in your dreams or in your waking state to start seeing one at a time those individual precision definitions that have been wrapped up with other ones. You'll start to break down your ideas of your relationship to money. That's what it is that we are doing here. We're rattling your cage, rattling your consciousness, and allowing you to deconstruct who you have been so that you can go through the process of reconstructing who you are and thus reconstruct the relationship to money that you have had into something new, into something abundant, into something spendable, tradable, on the open market, on your planet. And that will be you. You are the commodity that needs to be traded, that needs to be spent, that needs to be exchanged. You are the thing of value. You. Before we go on with this exercise, I will tell you that in time, not right away, but in time, your planet's quote-unquote monetary system will actually finally be based, and this is what it is heading toward, be based on the skills and abilities people have to offer. And there will be, not a government, but an organizational body that will put people together based on the skills they have to share with the people that need those skills. And synchronistically, everyone will find exactly who they need to provide what they need, and in turn will provide to others what they need based on who they are. But until that day, we understand that you want big fat wallets. And so let us proceed. because that is what this subject is about.